You listen to Bob Scratchy Records on 88.1 KDHX. Independent music gets played here, and that was Grandpa Jones playing some independent music on his guitar. You know, in spite of all the squires. We got one more here. This is Tommy Stewart and his rubber band. Cuckoo, ka-choo! Cuckoo, ka-choo! Ha ha! I buried Paul. I buried Paul. Nya, 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 nya. Nya, Pie face, pie face. Oh, my little pie face. You folks, I think you're coming up against a bully, and it'll be interesting to see what you make of it. What the hell? What the hell? A disc just slipped behind this counter that's like built in, and I'm never going to see it again. Jeez, what the hell? Okay, so somebody just called in and said, like, the way to deal with Al Qaeda is to, like, broadcast Bob Scratchy Records over there, and, like, next thing you know, they'll be, like, all wearing blue jeans and Converse tennis shoes and you know, just, like, slamming cokes and, you know, just getting down, becoming American, you know? It's like, damn, this all is sand. This ain't nowhere, you know? I mean, damn. Anyway, so here's some, here's some Asian people infected by Americanism through vinyl records. Yes, 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 yes. The 5, 6, 7, 8s. Independent music gets played here. Anyway, a while back there was like, this is like in the early 70s or something, you know, there was this group called Delaney, Bonnie, and Friends, and, you know, they were all right, you know, Bobby. They were cooler than their music was, you know. The actual songs they picked weren't that great, but, man, they could play. And they had, like, a lot of soul, you know. And the gal, she was, like, from here, you know. I think someplace over in Alton or something, and she was, like, one of the first white Ikettes to back up Tina Turner, Bonnie. And Bonnie Bramlett was her name, and so anyway, blah blah blah. I found this cut by them called Miss Ann, and Miss Ann is a song by Little Richard, and I played this and I thought, damn, that like just kicks ass on Little Richard's version, you know. And I went back and played Little Richard's version. Didn't sound as killer. The piano on this was like way better, you know. I mean, if you could believe that, because it was like Little Richard's version was on Specialty Records, you know. I mean, geez, how can you top that? But anyway, I look at this, I'm thinking, damn, and I look in a tiny little print, it says Little Richard on piano. So this is Little Richard playing piano with Bonnie and Delaney. I guess it's Delaney singing it, and we're going to see what we get here. It's coming. Oh, yeah, here it is. It's all greasy, so put on a napkin. Tuck it in the top of your shirt. You're listening to Bob Scratchy Records on 88.1 KDHX, where independent music is played here. Damn right. And you know you're listening to Bob Scratchy Records. You could tell by them scratches, you know. I know, but just imagine we're standing right outside a forest fire, and there's like, you know, there's like thousands and thousands of little elves all popping bubble paper at the same time. They're just biting them with their like razor sharp little teeth, like, you know, and there's bacon fire, you know, and it's all going around. Anyway, Rolling Stones, don't you hate the way you hear the same Rolling Stones songs all the time, man? It just makes you sick, don't it? Yeah, them damn Rolling Stones. Well, no, it's like, you know, Rolling Stones are like pizza, you know, the almost the worst you can get is still pretty damn good. Anyway, Rolling Stones, Rolling Stones, Rolling Stones. Yeah, 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 yeah. If Bo Diddley could have only copyrighted that rhythm, be drawing royalties from shaving a haircut 2 bits, shaving a haircut 2 bits. I think it's time now to give thanks. I want you all to put your hand out on that radio, and I'm gonna put your one hand, you lay one hand on your pants, and you put one hand on the radio, and you say, Amen, Amen. Thank you, Father, for Bob's Scratchy Records. Is this true? I'm saying, everybody be happy. It may look dark right now, but you know it will not be this way forever. Troubles and hard time cannot last forever. I believe, I promise you, it will not remain dark. Spring training is about to start. Baseball. Baseball's on the way. How dark can it be? Oh, Ricky! 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 You listen to Bob Scratchy Records, and that there was Paul Revere and the Raiders before they were actually, Paul Revere and the Raiders of commercial fame. That was back before they even got their outfits and all that, they were saving up for their outfits. Paul Revere was a barber at the time. Anyway, you are listening to Bob Scratchy Records on 88.1 KDHX, independent music played here. And you know what that means. That means, non-corporate music of any kind. But mostly on this show, it's just raw and wrong. Wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. This one here is by the Hoosies. No, I don't know. What the hell? It's by the... Who did I show you? What? Huh? Okay. Here is a group called the Nightingales. They're from... England. Birmingham, England. So that's sort of like Pittsburgh. So I'm going to lay this needle down, and we're going to, see what the hell they got going on here. Blah-de-blah. Yeah. Oh my. It's coming. It's I don't know. Well, the first time I thought it was sort of, the second time it was for oh. Oh my. Oh. Look at them legs. Good God. Hurt me. Grease that chicken. We need some chicken. Help me with some chicken. We're going to smear chicken grease all over our clothes. All down the front of your white shirt, you're going to be smearing chicken grease. Yes, that's for the listener who just called in. When Al Green did his album, he did Take Me to the River. He dedicated the song to a cousin of his, Lil Junior Parker, who had gone on at that point. But he is still with us. He is still with us. The devil could not take his soul because he left his soul here in the music. Thank you, Tom Hook. And I got a little piece of Junior Parker's soul that he left behind here, and I'm going to lay this down. And if you feel like getting up and pulling your shoes off, I want you to do that, all right? I want you to do that right now. You ready? Oh, pretend this is on Gabriel's show. That's what I'm saying. Oh, sounds so good. KDHX. I don't today, but I could bring something in next week. All right, man. Bye. I want to hear Roger Miller. Hello! KDHX. We are going to be doing a sort of a... I'm dedicating the whole day to Alex Chilton, one of my big heroes. And I've got a guest here, Mr. Tom Huck. And you'll be hearing from him in a little bit. And I'm also going to be playing some stuff by our own Mark Mason's band, Sins of the Pioneers. We're going to be had them in the other night and going to be playing some of that back. And he's playing in a band with his brother and his old man. And his old man is like 82 years old and he rocks. It's anyway, so blah, 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 blah. Yes, well, I should have been queuing up a new record, but I didn't. Hold on. You know, this is all too weird for me. What do you think, Tom? I don't know.
Sorry, Bob. I screwed you up on that.
Well, you know, we had this conversation and things were happening, but here we go anyway. Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk about Jesus now and calm myself a little bit because, you know, that's the only way to do it, is what I'm saying, you know. Reminds me of the time that I left my new car out on the parking lot down in the Grove. And when I came back, yes, folks, when I came back, there was like somebody living in my automobile. He had a little piece of cotton with a little thing of blood on it and like an empty beer can and a partially home rolled cigarette. I said, Lord, Lord, it was a rainy week and I was glad he or she found some place to be. Amen. Didn't it rain? Jesus. Blah, 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 blah. KDHX, something like that. Well, we're just sitting around here playing the independent music, you know, which is not to be confused with indie music, because that crap I can't even listen to, you know. But let's see, I'm sure we got a message that has to go out right now. So I'm just hold on just a second, and I'm gonna rack it up for you here. All right.
It's like
becoming a member. If you value
You're like
KDHX as a non-commercial
taking phone
radio
calls
station,
and
and
he's
wants to make sure the
like
independent
playing
voice of St. Louis
tunes
will
and
be here
typing
for
shit
years
in
to
on the
come,
computer.
please call our
It's like it's fucking in his office.
314-827-5349. That's 314-827-KDHX. Or visit
It's kind of like mission
KDHX.org
control in the
and
bowels
become
of
a member
hell.
today, because you are what powers KDHX.
All right. Well, I'm a little lost. I'll be honest with you here. I'm trying to find something. It ain't anywhere to be found. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Well, Mark, I'm sorry. I did want to play you this week, but I was just looking at a few more places. Hold on. Jesus. Okay. Well, I'm going to play this one song here. I happened to be there when Jay Farrar was recording this song, and I got a feeling this is going to come out horrible. Wait a minute. Because it's one of those computer-aided record things. You know, it's one of them CDs. Okay? But hopefully this will be what I hope it is, and then I won't have to like say nothing more. But oh geez, here we go. It's by Jay Farrar. It's called Afterglow 61. I like it. What can I tell you? Here. Nope. See, it doesn't. It isn't working. What the hell? Up. It says this side up, and I put it upside down.
You put on the DVD side.
We're going to try it again. That didn't work.
It's playing.
Scratchy Records, and what we got coming up now is the Sins... shut up. Okay, we got the Sins of the Pioneers coming up, and I have found it, and what the hell, you know? What the hell? So, anyway, so without any further ado, our own Mark Mason's band, Sins of the Pioneers. Here we go. You've been listening to The Sins of the Pioneers, which is the band of our own Mark Sonnyboy Mason, who does House by You on Tuesday evenings. And we got one more cut from this. This one features, again, his 81-year-old dad. I had said 82. I don't want to make the man any older than he is. He's only 81. And he's my hero. He is now my hero. So here we go. You're listening to Bob Scratchy Records on 81 KDHX, and I've got Tom. Shut up! I've got Tom Huck here in the studio with me.
Finally.
Yeah. Hey, there's some like fine stuff that needed to be played.
No, I mean finally here.
Oh, finally here. Yeah.
At my favorite radio show in the city, in the world.
We're gonna have to get you to say that on a promo thing. But anyway.
I can't curse though. That's not good.
No, you probably shouldn't do that.
I won't curse, I promise.
Or you can't say any disparaging words against any small minority groups or otherwise.
It's the large minority group.
Yeah, you could really rip into them, but okay. So we talked about you bringing in some records, and you brought in some stuff, and what we got here first.
This is the stuff I can't live without, and I was thinking in terms of sides, not albums, because that's a separate category in my brain. So the first one we got here is one of my favorites.
Wait. Let me just. So if you don't know who Tom Huck is, first I would suggest you Google him. And we all know how painful that can be. But he's just real briefly describe what you do.
I'm a printmaker.
Yeah, and you're not a teacher.
No.
Well, you are a teacher, but not at a school.
No.
Yeah.
I don't teach.
Anyway, so you're a printmaker.
I'm a printmaker. That's what I do. My shop's Evil Prints.
And he does like sort of a horror show version of printmaking with incredible stuff. And you've done. Name two groups you've done stuff for.
Motorhead.
And
The Roots.
There you go. The Roots' last album, the one with
No,
the
Phrenology.
C.
I did the Phrenology packaging for that.
Okay, there you go. And believe me, this man knows his rock and roll. That's the only reason I've ever talked to him,
That's why we sit around Evil Prince when you're over there and we just talk about what we love.
Because, when I first saw this guy, I thought, what in the hell could he have to say? Look at this mess here. He's got a chain on his wallet and all these tattoos, I'm used to people who look like that not knowing what they're talking about. Oh! Okay, no. So, go on, what we got here?
This is The Boys, first time.
Okay.
I love it.
There we go. That was two aces and a joker, and we got coming up next Jody Reynolds, who did "Endless Sleep." Man, he's in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame just on the strength of two songs, man. "Endless Sleep" and this next one, "Fire of Love." Crank this next one up, man. You are listening to Bob Scratchy Records on 88.1 KDHX. Independent music plays here. Oh, hi. I didn't hear you come in. Okay. Have you ever been in a relationship and you reach that point where, like, this thing is played out and it's got to end, and it's just a matter of having to break it to everybody? I mean, including the person you're involved with, but like sometimes it's almost worse telling the other people, and that's the way I've been feeling for a while. You gotta understand, I started doing this radio show when I didn't have that much else going on, and I would go out and scrounge around and like hunt up records, it was like this full-time thing, and I enjoyed it, I liked to spend that time. It was like well-spent time for me to it was almost like therapy, going digging through stacks of records and everything. But in order to do that, I have to keep doing that full-time, People didn't understand how much time I was putting into it, I would go, there's like at least 3 different record stores in town, and I would try to hit them all on a regular basis and, find the coolest, cheapest shit I could find. And, and like every day I'd set some aside, that like struck me that this is going to be cool for this week. and I would go through the records, and just I would only pull the ones that like were really hit me in the gut for that moment, you know, and I'd put it on a big pile, and then the night before I would like go through everything and listen to some of them, and you know, get it all lined up, and then boom, I would do my show, and then I would send out this extensive playlist, you know, where it was on the internet, and it was like stories about the individual artists that I played and pictures of them, and that took like 3 or 4 hours to put together. You know, I mean, I would like search the shit up on the internet and everything, so I really put a lot of time into it. And you know, now I've got a relationship. You know, before I was just totally by myself, and I've got a relationship, and I've got a band, and I've got a darkroom in my own basement now, and probably the biggest thing is I haven't written any songs in a long time, and I just, you know, when I do have time to pick up my guitar now, you know, I don't feel inspired, you know. It just struck me that like if I had that time that I'm using on the radio show, I would probably like get more into writing some songs, and I'm not done with that yet, you know. I know a lot of artists, when they reach my age, they stop writing, you know, and I contend that that's just because they get comfortable and they don't need to write anymore, you know. And I could probably go the rest of my life without writing anything, but I'm not ready to do that yet, you know. And so, I mean, the short story is that, like, for the past couple of months, a lot of times I get halfway through the show and I'm looking at the clock thinking, oh God, I only have an hour more to go. You know, that ain't no way to do the show. That is no place to be. Yeah, I mean, it's really striking me that a lot of people feel like I'm letting them down, or like they're really disappointed. And Lou Prince, he was almost mad at me, you know, and then when I tell people, what, they're going, you're quitting? I go, well, I'm taking an 8-week sabbatical, and they go, oh, okay, that's better, you know. But like, I'm not sure I'm coming back, you know. I picked the 8-week thing, just in case I felt like coming back after the 8 weeks. I could, but I'm not sure I'm coming back. And I'm gonna miss the attention that I do get, but it's not a money thing, you know. It's like, if people want me to do it that bad, they ought to be able to figure out some way to pay me to do it. I'm not getting paid anything, and it's costing me a lot. So yeah, I didn't notice that. You know, when I was just into doing it, it didn't really strike me. It's like now, people are saying stuff, you know, like they're saying stuff like, "Well, you were the flagship show on the station," you know, and I'm like, well, they never acted like that. You know, the station itself never acted like that. They tried to have this attitude like it was just a show like everybody else's show. You know, they want to take away the individuality of the individual shows. They want it to be, the whole thing to be like, they have this big grid, and the DJs are just modules that they could just go and change it around, you know. And they want everything to be more uniform, rather than just being a lot of half-assed sort of amateurish stuff, you know. They've even developed like a way of doing things that they want pretty much everybody to adhere to, and they told me that like I didn't really have to adhere to that because I could do it in my own way, and it worked. But they did. They told other new DJs, they said, listen to Bob's show and watch Bob do his show, and everything he does, don't do that, you know. So, because it works for him, but it won't work for you. Me and Fred were the two shows that they say people come to our shows by appointment. You know, I mean, they turn it on at that time. You know, otherwise, people just randomly turn on the station whenever they are in the car or whatever, and they've done studies to show that like people only generally listen for like 15 minutes. So they frown on the DJs. Somebody's got a 2 or 3 hour show. They don't want that DJ to like start out and build up and then, you know, really bang it up at the end. They want it to be more blah, 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 blah. Because, you know, they don't know. Somebody comes in the middle of it and they don't know what your plan was, but they're not going to be around when you like hit your crescendo or whatever, you know. What I would love is for somebody to pick up my show and syndicate it, and I don't know what the realism of any of that is. But, you know, if somebody's willing to pay me to do what I do, I would love to do that. But right now I gotta try to like start making some kind of money. I feel a certain freedom knowing that it's gonna be over, you know? Like I wrote my first song in like about a year and a half the other day. I wrote this song, you know, and I started getting this little idea, you know, and I'm playing it, and like, you either have to like, when you get a song idea, you have to either play it over and over and over and over so that you remember it, and you know, because I can't write music out, and I don't have a tape recorder, so I had this little bit of a song, you know, and I said to Sarah, like, you got your phone here? She goes, yeah. I go, call me up. So like, she goes, call you up? I said, call me up, you know, and she calls me up, and I go, is the machine ready to pick up? And she goes, yeah. And I go, okay, now hold it up for me. And I played the little thing, you know, and it is like recorded on my phone, you know, so like I got it, you know. I could go just, you know, check out my phone messages and I could hear the little bit of the song, you know, and I could like come back on that and work with that little bit later on, you know. And you know, which I'm not saying I'm not going to come back and do the show, but I'm kind of excited at the possibility of a change. Maybe I'll come up with something that's more exciting, more cooler than that, you know. The show did its job, you know. When I started doing the show, I was playing alternative country type music, you know, singer-songwriter stuff. And I don't know how I wound up in that place, because I started out playing rock and roll when I was a kid, and it just like somehow evolved to, you know, a lot of rock and roll became rock, and that seemed so stupid that I went more towards the songwriting aspect of it, because that seemed a little bit more intelligent. But like, the more you bring your head into the music, the gut kind of loses out, you know. So the music I was playing just sounded produced and repressed, and you know, it was thoughtful, but you know, it just didn't have rock and roll energy to it, you know. And I was playing that, and I just got to the point where I was getting really bored with music, and I practically set the guitar down, and I would only pick up the guitar when I had a gig. And then when I was asked to do the show, they kind of thought that I would be playing alternative country, you know, but I just started playing the songs that I really liked, and they didn't have nothing to do with alternative country. It was like rock and roll, you know. And I was like, ooh, yeah, this is the reason I got into music, you know. And I did this show for like 3 years without playing any music, just about, you know, on my own. And after 3 years, when I did start playing again, I started playing stuff that was more like what I'd been playing on the radio. So the first thing that the radio show did was assisted me in getting back to the heart of what I loved about music, you know, wildness and rawness and just the fun of rock and roll. And the other thing the show did was it enabled me to meet Sarah, who was like coming through town and heard me on there and contacted me, you know. And like, if those are the only two things that this show accomplished, it's fine with me. It's done its job, you know. I was involved with a sort of a rock and roll community around town that was a lot of cigarettes and tattoos and, stark wild partying and shit. And I'd be like right there with everybody, and the bars would close down at night, and I'd turn the light on, and I was right there with my camera getting everybody as the bar lights were being turned on, And I was like capturing that sort of experience. But the whole time I was photographing this shit, I was never one of the people who was drinking, And I was just there sort of living it with them, but I wasn't getting drunk and doing drugs. I was just like documenting it. And those people, a whole lot of them have moved away, or they got married, or they got real jobs. And that whole scene that I was involved with, that kind of like frittered away. And now, can we stop it just a second? So now, that group is gone, and I went for like a whole year where I lost my license. So, I wasn't going out to the bars and shit. And so what is left of that scene, I sort of fell out, because I couldn't get there for a year. And now I'm involved with a different community, like of younger rockers now, guys in their 20s. People I had been involved with, they're now like in their 30s. And these people now are like in their early 20s. And it's a whole different scene, but it's different. It's not as many cigarettes and tattoos. There's just something different about it. It feels more alive, and but the point is, I'm not just taking pictures of that. My life has changed, and I've been like taking pictures of people's kids, even, and I've been taking more pictures during the daytime, and right now I'm not taking pictures of any one scene, and that really freaked me out, because I thought that I thought the biggest thing about my stuff was the fact that I was documenting this scene. And that last photo show I did, this woman who came, and she was kind of she wasn't somebody that I exactly liked, but she goes, "Yeah, you have a good body of work of the scene that was happening in the late 90s." It's now 2009 coming on 2010, and it's like, I realized that she wasn't alone, that people, what they think most of is the stuff that I did in the past. Because when school, sort of the lab closed down and everything, and I didn't have any place to print, I was still doing shows, but I was kind of doing them with all the stuff that I had backed up. And I'd still be taking pictures, but not as often as I used to. So it's just weird. So it was like this big gap. There was a big gap with everything, because not only did I lose my license for a year, but then I had the heart operation, and I was out of commission during that time. And so there was like a big spell of time when I kind of like was, for one reason or another, necessarily doing nothing, And so now I'm kind of like getting cranked back up again. And it just recently hit me when I was down working in a dark room that I'm not defined by the scene that I'm doing. I'm defined by the way I see things in general, And I just hope to like continue doing that. And to let it unfold, to let that unfold too, you know, as I go through it. To just, you know, I'll find out what it is I'm doing later, after I do it, you know. All I got to worry about is it really doing something for me in my gut and my heart while I'm doing it? And as long as that's happening, then I'm doing good. My whole goal to begin with was like the scene that was going on was like alive and vibrant. And I just want to continue taking pictures of people and such that are alive and vibrant. They don't have to be rock and rollers, you know. They could be whatever. But I'm still really interested in people, and it doesn't have to be a uniform. It was easy to take pictures of people when the whole cigarette smoke and tattoo thing was happening. That's really kind of flashy in its way, you know, and it like pops, you know, and it makes you stand out, you know. We'll see what happens, you know. I was just thinking about, we did that one interview section, and I was like venting all my fears and everything about not having money and not knowing whether I can go on and everything, you know. Well, I made it over that hump, and I feel like I almost like get a second wind or something, you know. Like jobs have picked up some, and I don't feel as negative as I did then. I know I will feel that way again, but like right now I'm feeling like there's hope again, you know. Just being with Sarah has helped so much, because I don't feel like I'm all alone anymore, you know. And sometimes when I've really been busted, you know, she'll come and visit for the weekend, and before she leaves, she'll like buy me a bunch of groceries to get through the week, you know. And that really helps, man, because like when you're alone in this world, you are alone, you know. And like when there's no money to be had to buy food, there ain't no money to be had to buy food, you know. I mean, you know, you get yourself like $2 and you go and you buy 2 bean burritos at Taco Bell, and that'll get you through like part of a day, you know. Yeah, was it that Maslow's pyramid or whatever, you know? You got to have certain things taken care of before you could like evolve and be able to like be freed up to do creative stuff. You know, you have to have a place to stay. You have to like be somewhat secure with that. You have to have some food, you know. You have to have some kind of little bit of security, you know. And knowing that somebody in your life loves you, is able to hold up a mirror up in front of you and show a positive reflection of who you are, that really helps, you know. Like we're like working together, and she wants to help promote me, you know, and we see ourselves as throwing our lives together, and I just know there's some money to be made on some level with the talents that I have, but I've never been able to like make it happen, you know. And she's got some pretty good organizing skills, you know. She's a librarian, you know, and she can do stuff like that. So we're gonna see if between the two of us we can get something going. Fucked up and thinking about it, like the way she'd always push back her hair. Blue eyes so big they take over all tonight. Still down on the square. Busted out toilets and back rooms, they all lead to a crack in the sky. Sell myself baby, why? And I can't remember, and I cannot recall whether I've lately gone crazy, or maybe I just hit the wall. There's a burnt piece of meat wearing my clothes. I mean, really, this really ain't fair. You with them big shoes and eyebrows all tonight, sit down on the square. And I can't remember, and I cannot recall whether I've lately gone crazy, or maybe I just hit the wall. Hey. And I cannot remember, and I cannot recall. Maybe I've lately gone crazy, or maybe I just hit the wall. I've been leading my life out of two minds. On man, I'm a hell of a pair. Too young to give up and let go, and too old still be down on the square. And I can't remember, and I cannot recall whether I've lately gone crazy, or maybe I'll just hit the wall. And in the morning, I wanna die. I feel so tired, I swear I don't know why. Well, I grab myself up and I shake back my clothes all the way round. I'm going tonight, on tonight, I will leave hell town. And in the evening, I wanna die. I've been so down, I swear I don't know why. Well, I picked myself up with the love of some people that I found. Tonight, I am going tonight, I will leave hell town. I'm on the road now, I'm on my own, and I'm so bad just making love on the phone. Well, I drag myself up and I shake back my clothes all the way round. Tonight I am going, tonight I will leave hell town. Tonight I am going guy came to me and asked me, was I a racist afterwards? Would I tell you if I was? Jefferson Davis, Jefferson Davis rode out alone. My mama told me he's leading us home. Jefferson Davis did not die in the field. They hung him on a cross. They burned Atlanta to the ground. The women and children far from their homes. Why don't they leave us alone? Please, Mr. Davis, I wanna go home. Oh, 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 oh. Regulators precious love, good enough for me. They lying about that. Woo. Sometimes they talk about that. Everyone's relying upon us. Spoonful, yeah. That spoon, that spoon, that spoonful, that spoon, that spoon, that spoonful. Might be a spoonful of diamonds, might be a spoonful of gold. Just a little bit of your precious love satisfied my soul. And lying about that, sometimes it does about that. Everyone relying upon the spoonful, yeah. Oh, that spoon, that spoon, that spoonful, that spoon, that spoon, that spoonful, yeah. Oh, yeah. Take it, Jimmy.
Back to you.
Might be a spoonful of water, save you from the dance of sand. Just a little spoonful of my 45, save me from another man. I mean, lying about that, sometimes it dies about that. Everyone relying upon the spoonful, yeah. Oh, that spoon, that spoon, that spoonful, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then them fuckers with the cowboy hats is coming on. Boy,
Yeah.
worst thing about doing your own songs is sometimes you forget them. And if I can't remember them, who the fuck's going to, you know?
Do you remember Mississippi, Bob? I love that song.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Mississippi, rolling brown, drag the river. I'm going down. I don't think now that she wants me around. It was you what brought me to her. It was you what took me from her. Mississippi, rolling brown, drag the river. I'm going down. I don't think now that she wants me around. It was you what took her from me. It was you that took her from me. Just last night I felt the truth. There was nothing else that I could do. Just last night felt this okay. Yes, something good and then take it away. Mississippi, fast and mean, tow you under, leave you downstream. This beats everything that I've ever seen. It was you what brought her to me. It was you what took her from me. Just last night I felt the truth. There was nothing else that I could do. Just last night felt this okay. Yes, something good and they take it away. Mississippi, rolling brown, through the topsoil. I'm losing ground. I don't think now that she wants me around. It was you what brought her to me. It was you what took her from me. It's up to me to set myself free. Thank you.
Hey, how old are you guys? How old are you guys? 17, 13? They're carrying the conversation over here. Yeah. What? I'm just, it's pretty interesting. How old are you? You're 20?
That's close.
What are you doing in here? Hey, arrest this man.
What about them?
I don't know. There was a time when at some point in your life, you would stop being hard. But like, you don't have to worry about it no more, because they got people who sell like penile implants, and they got stuff now that'll make you harder than Chinese arithmetic. So you don't have to worry about that, because I saw a look on your face. You were kind of a little bit panicked. Don't worry about it. We'll get you some cards. You got some cards? Okay. Don't worry. We got these guys. So anyway, I was living in this little box there on the van, and I just thought, like, life is really hard, you know, and what is it that has fucked life up so? And then it hit me, you know, Mark fucking McGuire, you know? And like, so like, we just like laid in this alley, me and Mark, down by the stadium. We caught that fucker coming out one time, you know? And we just like, we beat the living fuck out of him. And somehow, life felt better, you know? And this story doesn't really have a point. And that's the point of my story.
Some days you live in a box, and some days you beat up baseball stars.
But you know, that was basically the thing. And a lot of people don't know this, but that Oklahoma bombing that Timothy McVeigh, you know, got slammed for, they found in all the burnt wreckage, they found a Louisville Slugger, and across the burnt tip of it, it said Mark McGuire. You know, so like, that fucker, he's behind a lot of this shit that's going down. And one guy says, I have a trick I could do. And the other guy says, what is it? And he says, take this hammer and hit me upside the head. He says, I'm not going to hit you with that hammer. He said, hit me with that hammer. They were getting feedback here. He said, I'm not going to hit you with that hammer. He says, oh, it's because you're obviously a fag. And the guy hits him with the hammer, and guy's bleeding. He's on the ground, and he goes into a coma, and he's like, they take him to the hospital, and he's laying in a coma for like 3 weeks, and the guy who hit him is there every day, and he's like just totally freaked out. He can't believe this has happened, and he's like at the end of the 3rd week, and he looks down, and the guy opens up one eye, and then he opens up the other eye, and he looks up and goes, ta-da! Here we go. Well, I told you once, I told you twice. break day.
I wish
That one time that St. Louis played Boston in the World Series, I just want to really thank you for not making them wear ladies' dresses. The only way it could have possibly been more embarrassing. What you say it all not to see. Better, baby, I was just out of reach. I never tell you straight, I never took my heart. And now you're gonna remember probably better off. Better, baby, watching the day. Better to read. Take my heart and everything, but only things she need. I never told you straight, I never spoke my heart. And now you're gonna remember probably better off. Better, baby, watching all day. Ask me a million questions, you'll never know how good she sent me places you'll never go. Pretty manipulator, no one is there. I shine a light on butter, butter won't get there, oh yeah. Oh yeah. What you say, all I can see. Better, baby, I went just out of reach. I never know you straight, I never spoke my heart. And now you're gonna remember probably better off. Better, baby, watching on me. Better, baby, watching on me. Better baby, what's in the name?
1, 2, 3.
Put out on 45, and somehow I'm getting her name. She was in the nursing program, and I called her up. I found her phone number, and I called her up, and I said, "You don't know me, but I ride on the bus with you, and my band just wrote a song about you that we just put out on 45, and it fucking worked." It was great. She was so cool, you know. She was like some Hoosier hillbilly chick. She could roll a joint in one hand, you know, and like, you know, well, I'll tell you, for a long time, what I remember about the first time we got together, I mean, I was like really, really drunk. And what I remember is, you know, we kind of go, you know, I mean, that's all I remember. But I didn't hear from her for a long time, and it was like about 9 or 10 months afterwards, I got this phone call from her, and she said, "Hi," and I said, "Hey, where you been?" And she said, "I've been losing weight." And I said, "Well, you didn't look like you needed to lose weight." She goes, "I had a baby." And I said, oh, well, I guess we ought to talk. And we agreed to meet the next day. And I called her up the next day, and her brother said, "She done moved back to the country." And then it would have been all okay. But I saw her like, about 4 or 5 years later, and she was in an Amvet store, and she was pushing this little baby buggy, and there was a little baby in there that was bald and had a goatee and these black Harman glasses, and I just like hid behind the women's skirts. Anyway, that song was the other side of the 45. This is the B side of it. Down say, what can I put into words that will describe how am I feeling about this one? I looked down Arrow Cave, I looked down on Crow Jane, and I thought, and I looked down and I said,
many people have ever seen Bob Reuter crawl around on the floor? Yeah, I've seen that shit too.
I've seen him crawl around in the roof.
Maybe you've seen him just crawl around. It's wouldn't that be? Well, I can tell you who Bob got that from. He got that from somebody actually. There was this dude named Chester Burnett, that they called the Howling Wolf. And this is one of his songs.
In a way, it's kind of frozen in time, but I don't know. I've been hanging out down here since, God, the early 80s, off and on, when it was an entirely different thing. It was like Hillbilly Central here at one time. It was like, you know, the one place for like total white trash, you know, guys with long, greasy hair, and there was a country music store right down the street called Boot Heel Records, and there was like a couple of junk stores that I used to go to and find records and then go sell them to record stores. I don't know, but now it's like all these young kids have moved in, and they're just sort of like taking over the street in a way, you know, opening up cool shops, and it's not like gentrified yet, and they swear it's not gonna be, but I don't know, it's a thrilling place to be, like especially at night. You walk down the street at night and you still don't know, you know, like you could be killed by any one of a number of different racial or socioeconomic groups, you know. It's a freak show. Sometimes I think about just setting up my camera and asking people at random as they come down the street if I could take their picture, you know. If there's any place in St. Louis that sort of brings to mind the freakishness of New York, this would be the place. Well, this place is called Phono Mode, and it's a brand new record store, and which is really weird. You know, it's like the 21st century. And I was just talking to some girl in New York, and she was telling me, you know, she says something like, well, now that there's no record stores anymore, and I'm like, maybe in New York there's no record stores, but in St. Louis we now have 4 of them. Count them, 4. You know, Vintage Vinyl, Euclid Records, Record Exchange, 5, A-Pop, and here, Phono Mode. I don't know if they're gonna make it or not, you know, but I really like the guy who opened it, and I got a thing where I come in here and he has me, I know more about records than he does, so he has me go through his 45s and tell him what's crap and what he should hold on to. So we sort of have an arrangement. He buys me lunch, I get to pick some records, and I help him out. The name of the show, Bob's Scratchy Records, was like just a preemptive strike. I knew that it was going to be like scratchier than people were used to on the radio, and you know, that really stands out. So I figured I'll just make that part of the title so it could be what they're expecting when they come, because I knew there'd be, you know, some whiners out there who would go, oh, it sounds so scratchy, you know, kind of like, you know, he doesn't even realize it's scratchy. Yes, I realize it's scratchy, you know, but like, hey, pretend there's like a giant, you know, pretend like Paul Bunyan is cooking up a giant, you know, griddle. Oh boy, there's a guy coming here. It's going to be pretty interesting. There you go. Anyway, I hope you can use that. Where was I at? Calling my radio show Bob's Scratchy Records was a preemptive strike. See, I knew my shit was going to be scratchier than what people are used to hearing on the radio, and it was really going to stand out. And I figured there'd be some people going like, I wonder, does he know how scratchy that sounds? You know, yes, he knows how scratchy that sounds. But I figured, you know, it's like rock and roll, or it's like some raw shit, you know, and like the scratches are only going to add to it. You know, it'd be different if it was like album-oriented rock, you know, some hippie art music, you know, where there's like big things of quiet and you hear scratches through that. You know, I could see where that would be, you know, I don't see how it could make it any worse, but you know, it would make it different. And this is an entirely different thing. Although I knew I was letting myself in for being referred to as Scratchy Bob, you know, it's like, I don't know who that is, but it ain't me, you know. People call me, are you Scratchy Bob? You know, no, I'm Bob Reuter, you know. I mean, I should have named the show Bob's Handsome Records, and they could have said, you know, oh, are you handsome, Bob? And I said, well, some people think so, you know, but oh lordy, here comes some more. Anyway, so yes and no, and sometimes, and that's how that goes. There was something else I was going to say, but hold on.
Girl with dick till her head first.
Was he just saying she's going to eat dick till her head bursts? Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, Scratchy Bob, you know, that's not me. One time I was in the lobby of the radio station, and this clown comes in and goes, "Where's that Crazy Bob? Who's Crazy Bob?" You know, and like, I'll be damned if I'm going to jump and go, "Oh, I'm Crazy Bob," you know. So I was like, "Why you want to know?" And he goes, "Oh, I love Crazy Bob. I listen to him all the time while I'm working." I said, "Oh, what kind of work you do?" And he goes, "I tow people's cars away." You know, and I'm like, "Fuck you, get a job, man, damn." You know, but quit listening to me. So there. Makes me feel good. You know, it's like, I hate change to begin with. And this is like holding on to the past, you know, in the best possible way, because, you know, just so happens that as things go on, they become, all new stuff becomes less real, less authentic, less everything, more corporatized. I don't know, it's like the songs on the records are something from the past, something real and legitimate, and somebody's feelings and emotions are brought into it, and that's something that's really missing now. Mostly, like, you know, corporate crap doesn't have any feelings and emotions. Most of the stuff that's put out now independently is by younger kids, and they're all ironic and shit, you know, they're into irony and all that. They're, you know, at best it's like wink wink nudge nudge as they're doing it, even if they're doing old country, you know, so nobody thinks they're corny, you know. But old records, that's real stuff, you know. That's like when people really meant it through the music, and I want to collect that. It means something to me. It's important to me. Old stuff by black people, old stuff by white crackers, you know, just anything that's kind of cool and junky and raw, and, you know, a little bit ass kicking. I love it when it has on the label that it is made by some company, recorded down in Louisiana or something like that. That's like the real thing, even if it ain't that good, you know. I mean, it got Louisiana on there. I'm like drawn to grabbing it, you know. Or if there's a sticker on the label, you know, that's like a return mailing address for Miss Bessie Mae Johnson, you know, in Louisiana somewhere, rural Route 9 or something like that, you know. It's like, I want to hear what that person was listening to, you know. It's just, it's for real stuff, you know, like, it's for real stuff. Yeah, and I do collect some modern stuff, you know, but it's got to be stuff that's real. And that becomes less and less as you go along, you know. I mean, I got some cool psychedelic stuff from the 60s and punk stuff from the 70s and just garage crap from now, you know, and it all mixes together, and it's all about even in a lot of ways for me. That was a preemptive strike, you know. Like, I knew that for playing on the radio, my shit was going to be too scratchy. So I knew there'd be some prissy ass fuckers out there who were going to whine about that. So I just thought, I will get that over with before, you know, they got a chance to say anything. Waylon Jennings singing Love of the Common People. It's a good thing I don't have bus fare to fall through the hole in my pocket and I'd lose it in the snow. That kind of thing. Robert Mitchum, That Little Old Wine Drinker Me. Walker's Woods. Loretta Lynn, Out of My Head and Back in My Bed. She sang a song with Conway Twitty called "You're the Reason Our Kids Are So Ugly." Merle Haggard, Hank Thompson, Six Pack to Go. Waylon Jennings, The Dark Side of Fame and Stop the World, Let Me Off. Tom T. Hall, Negatory Romance. That song is driving me crazy. The name of the song was Crystal Chandelier, and I thought that was the artist. So this is my record store. I want an outfit like that.
That's what you need.
I don't know. I don't think that the reasons that I came back were the real reasons I came back, you know. I said I came back because, and I thought I was coming back because I thought the station needed to get back to some kind of normalcy or something, and I figured me coming back would help towards that. But you know, the station would have got along either way. I don't know, I guess Larry dying just made me feel like, then I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like guilty or anything, you know, when it wasn't coming in. What's really insane is that it was that fucking playlist. I miss doing the playlist, and when I do it, it drives me crazy. But I love doing all the research for it, you know. I lift a lot of it from other sources. You know, it's like, I'm not doing it just to go, hey, look how good I write or something. I'm doing it so people know something about it, you know. People seem to like it more when I just write stuff. But that wears my brain out to do that, man. Like, there's like 36 songs, you know, per show generally. And that's an awful lot to write something about everybody. Especially when you're looking all around for the right graphics and everything. That's like yesterday I spent between, you know, sending shit out, sort of advertising shit and writing the playlist and everything. I was on the computer from like 5 o'clock till midnight. Yep. I look at this record, it looks like somebody strapped it to their foot and went skating down the sidewalk with it on. Pamela Lamb. Oh, yeah, guy. The Carlisle, he started up a family band called the Carlisles. He's got some song called She Was Just a Female Hercules. You know? It's from like 1951. I don't know. For some reason that kind of surprised me that it was from that long ago. That was like the year I was born. Look at this label. Blackfoot. It literally has a bare black foot there, you know. And the title of the song is I Got the Hots for You. It seems fairly insane to me. But I should check that out, see what it sounds like. And most of this will probably be shit, you know, but like Giddy Up Kick. I gotta hear what that sounds like. Maybe, you know, mainly I gotta look for something that I don't recognize the label. Because like half these, I go through them, I just see one side, and I could like, without flipping it over, I could probably tell you what the flip side was. You know, and then there's other stuff that's like really good stuff that like maybe quite a while ago would have just thrilled the hell out of me. And it's still a good song, but like I'm so used to it, it means nothing to me no more. And then somebody else comes along and discovers that, you know, and they're all thrilled about it, and I just want to go, oh yeah, I'm way over that. You know, but I hate when people do that to me. There's never anything except a stupid idea that you have in your head that connects it. You know, it's like, okay, I'm gonna do all songs that say monkey in the title, you know, and it's like, what? I think that's pretty stupid shit. Just from his title was Groovy Joe Poovy. How could you not pick that up, you know? And it turns out it's really cool shit. When my sister graduated from high school, she gave me all her 45s. Like, she just saw that she was too old, she was too mature, too grown up for rock and roll. And so she said I could have them. And I just about went crazy. I just thought they were the neatest thing in the world. And like, even back then, or maybe even especially back then, I always felt like they had the answers, you know, to like the major questions. And if I'm feeling fucked up, I could come and look for records. And it really does. It calms something down in me, you know. It's especially the ones that are obviously more homemade, you know. It's just like real people expressing real shit that they're going through. And I draw strength from that, and I sort of base my life on that, you know. It's like, for my religion, these are like the Gospels. Just when I find something that's like, especially if it doesn't seem like it sold very big. But you know, like when I'm talking to you, and like when you mispronounce the Chi-Lites, I was thinking, he doesn't remember the Chi-Lites? And then I realized, oh yeah, you're kind of like young for that. But you know, so like maybe I'll find something here and I'll think, God, that's pretty obscure, and it turns out it was like a big hit in 1951. Like there's this guy Bill Carlisle, and he did mainly novelty records, and he here's one on a label called 95 South, and the title is Whoop, There It Is. Anyway, what was I saying? Like, Fat Possum, I really gotta admire, because, like, from what I hear, they were financed when they started out in large part by the guy who was heading up the whole thing. He sold a stolen car to get the money, you know, to start the thing up. And I got one of their records, and they had this card inside that you were supposed to fill out, and it had questions, you know, like, how much do you generally make per year, and are you male or female, and blah 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 blah. And then it had a little space there, and it had like, put your address, and then in the space it says, trace the outline of your door key here. You know. I like this labeled Josie. This is from down south somewhere. You know, he's got kind of interesting stuff, and it's always sounds like real homemade. And this particular one is by the Johnson sisters, called Tough Looking Guy. And I would have thought, you know, and the back is Devil in the Dark. And I would have thought both of them would be kind of cool. But, you know, they're kind of nothing. You can't always judge by the title or anything. Ken Vassy. He like did this really cool version of a song that Blue Cheer originally did. And it was kind of cool. It sounded real southern, like real basic rock and roll. And I looked all over the internet, and I finally found something on a Frank Zappa page. Had the guy's name. He had sang with Frank Zappa on stage, like in Iowa or something during the 70s. You know, and that really didn't play in with what I thought the guy was going to be based on this 45. I mean, this didn't sound like it had anything to do with Frank Zappa. And then I learned that he later died of cancer, like too young. And then, but just prior to that, he had been singing back up to Lionel Richie. You know, and it's like, okay, that completely twists my view of what was going on. And it was like this big thing written by his ex-wife on this website, you know, like talk about how he had died too early and yada yada yada. How can I tell my mom and dad by the love lights? I happen to know that I've already listened to that one. You know, it's like, what the hell? Saying on Watch Out for the Cheater. So there was a book written about it, and it was entitled Watch Out for the Cheater. I just like eat that shit up, you know? It's like this. I put a thing on Facebook about, I just found this record by Nolan Strong, and I paid $4 for it, 45, and I was like real proud of it. And some gal goes, I just got an album by the Singing Nun. Remember the Singing Nun? Oh man, I was like, really, it's like this horrible thing in the 60s, you know. It was like this like French nun or something. That was like when nuns were really, everybody thought nuns were really cute, you know. And she did this song called Dominique. It was like, oh Dominique, oh, and it was all clean cut and, you know, super, oh, isn't that cute? It's a nun playing a little song, and she had a guitar, and there was a movie done about her that, like, Debbie Reynolds played this singing nun, you know. And then I find out later that, like, the nun died, you know, and she didn't just die. She, like, took part in a double suicide pact with another nun that she was very close to. Yeah, you know. So, like, the backstory is always, like, 10 times cooler than... Like, I just got done writing this thing last night about Wilson Pickett. I mean, they call him the Wicked Pickett, you know. Like, he had this drummer, Buddy Miles, and when Mike Bloomfield started up the Electric Flag, he stole Buddy Miles away, and like, so like, Wilson Pickett was like shooting across a parking lot at either Mike Bloomfield or Buddy Miles, I forget which one it was, you know, but like, he just, I mean, when I heard that, you know, I was like pretty young, and it was sort of shocking to me that somebody who like had money and, you know, had hits and everything would be like shooting across a parking lot at somebody that he was pissed off at, you know. That's why they call him the Wicked Pickett. Like, this is Walter Scott again. You could see why somebody'd want to chop him up and throw him in a drainage pipe, you know?
Just you wait, and I will show you what a man was meant to be.
Yeah, I'd shove him in a drainage pipe.
Johnny, get mad. Give me the biggest lecture I ever had.
Now what she's really looking for is for him to like kill her, chop her up, and throw her in a drainage pipe. Stuff her in a drainage pipe. You can't just throw somebody in a drainage pipe. I don't ever like go, oh, this would probably be a song that would be good for people to hear, you know. If it don't like grab me in the gut, if it don't interest me, I figured it ain't gonna interest nobody else. This one this is like a reprint of this by Little Richard. Now I want to see, is it the original or like one of the 10 other versions. Every song he ever got a hit on, he recorded it like 10 times. And sometimes they're more interesting than the original. I just want to see what it is. See, that's not the original, because the original has Earl Palmer, the drummer, going. You know, kind of sets the whole tone. Led Zeppelin ripped that off from Earl Palmer, but this one don't have that. Still kind of cool. This guy, Percy Mayfield, he was like on his way to being a really kind of smooth R&B singer. You know, one of the first ones, well, a smooth blues singer. And he was in a car wreck and it smashed his head to fuck. And he had to have a metal plate put in his head. And he was never pretty again after that. In these books and everything, man, she was something.
I like her already. What's her number?
Her name was Sarah. and she wore a shirt, man.
I believe it.
She wore this t-shirt from the Eat Right Diner. And across the front of it, it said, eat right or don't eat at all. And I looked her up later on. She's part owner of a bookstore in New York City. Skyscrapers and everything. And she hadn't changed, man, because she was somebody that could match you. She could match any guy, drink for drink. I mean, her daddy was a minister. So she had a lot to drink away. She's the same age as I am. And right now, her face looks kind of like a baseball glove, and she's just like laying in the gutter out there, you know. But she's still got that really dirty t-shirt on that says, eat right or don't eat at all.
Okay. I was once a boxer. It was 1980. At a job in a warehouse, I boxed souvenirs of Lake Placid Winter Olympics up for the Bristol Myers Company. And that's sort of what this is about.
After a point, there is no point. Take a dive and just lie still. There'll be no one for to dress your wounds at the bottom
In the song "It Don't Matter," it's about being stranded in San Antonio. Did you know that?
Well, I know that line.
Well, this guy that I used to play with, he had a thing going with these two LA studio musicians down in San Antonio, and I was up in Syracuse at the time, and they contacted me and said, "Man, you got to come down here and try it out. You know, these guys, they got connections in Hollywood and everything. We're gonna have a band. You will pay your way down. If you don't like it, we'll pay your way back." So I was with the woman who I wound up marrying, and I didn't want to be with her. So I said, "Okay, get me out of here." So they flew me down there, and it was fucking horrible. It was like the biggest, ugliest, most commercial pile of dreck you've ever heard in your life. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. And they wouldn't pay my way back. And so like I was wound up broke down in this bar in a motel room, you know, and I was like calling the gal who I wound up marrying, going, "You gotta get me out of here. You gotta get me out of here." And they were like, they kept on feeding me drinks and then coffee and then drinks and then coffee, and they were trying to like get me to stay because they wanted my songs. And he goes, "You ever seen Carl Rattle? You know who Carl Rattle is?" I said, "Yeah, he played with Derek and the Dominoes, Eric Clapton's band." I said, "Yeah, you look like him, you know, and last time I saw him, man, he was laying all high on cocaine. He had one gal sucking his dick and the other one biting on his nipples." And I thought, if I go to LA, I'm gonna wind up dead.
Yeah.
So.
It's what LA's good for.
But while I was there, you know, I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I was like sitting on this little tiny bench out in front of the Alamo, and this really old guy, probably older than I am now, comes up, and he squeezes into this little bench with me, and starts telling me these stories about working with the WPA, and he was like fishing, and he was on his boat, and he fell off, and these fish things all shot up into his arms, and I just thought, am I on drugs? and I didn't have any money, so, and the one guy who was like the leader of the band, he had this thing where he would fill the back of his station wagon up with these little Mexican kids, and he would like leave them on street corners to sell flowers. And so he threw me in the back of this truck with all these little Mexican kids, and I was wearing a fedora and this sports jacket, and they kept going, "Man, you look like a Pachuco." And I'm like, "What the fuck's a Pachuco?" And the kid goes, "He's kind of like a crazy guy, you know." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like Pachucos are them guys with the zoot suits and big watch chains and shit.
We should get zoot suits.
We should. You got you and Matt on one side of the stage, going, and then you got Chris on the other side with these shades going.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing in the middle like this, and I'm going, you know what I look like? I look like Bob Reuter with two wind-up monkeys. But very cool wind-up monkeys.
Right.
It's like punk wind-up monkeys.
There you go.
God damn mosquitoes. Ooh, my baby, it's over. And this town stinks of death. And Jesus ain't coming down to save us this time. And I wake up with murder on my breath. Are these police forever trying to drag me down until I'm broken? And I don't know what can make it all stop. I don't know what can make it all stop. Stop. I see bodies rising up into a golden sky. Swing down low, sweet chariot, take me to Jesus, Jesus when I die. Ooh, my baby, it's over. Death floats on the top. And Jesus ain't coming down to save us this time. And I wake up with murder on my breath. Are these police forever gonna drag me down until I'm broken? And I don't know what can make it all stop. 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 I hit the city and I wrecked my van. I lost my baby to the ice cream man. The ice cream man ain't got no soul. Can't stop a salesman when he's on a roll, oh yeah. I told my baby this could not be so. I felt exactly like a donut hole. I said, man ain't got no soul. Can't stop a woman when she's out of control, oh yeah. Life is okay. I wouldn't have it any other way. I said life is alright. Can't stop a woman when it's ice cream time, oh yeah. I told my baby this could not be so. I felt exactly like a donut hole. Ice cream man ain't got no soul. I feel like I'm baby out on parole, oh yeah. Life is alright. I wouldn't have it any other night. I said life is okay. I wouldn't have it any other way, oh yeah. Oh yeah, even so, I'm in a round to go, oh yeah. Even so, baby, don't love me long, but I got to know. Dreaming like a young girl about true love. I cursed these first stars that I ever wished upon, and all my last hopes got torn away after the money from mama was gone. Walking down South Grand at midnight, wearing my heart on my sleeve, trying to stay right, trying to stay live, thinking that maybe it's about time to leave. And the boys, they come down from Maiden, looking for pussy and I feel tonight. What to die might be like. I'm just one more generation of a fucked up life. There's a story I heard about the great speckled bird, how I long to hold him to me and to kiss his lips. There's a woman on board who can talk about the Lord. She might talk about redemption or just draw out her sword. If I'm hearing this right, I might just fly off tonight, all then stop and turn about her like the sun. Never look into the sun, you'll never like the way it's done. It's always like dancing in a dream, always running back and forth. You never know just what it's worth. I only recall now like it seems. When she told me that I was not the path, I was someone on the roadside with his blue guitar. Then I rode on out to the edge of the town, and I woke up in the morning with a speckled bird. Never look into the sun, you'll never like the way it's done. It's always like dancing through a dream, always running back and forth. Never know just what it's worth. I only recall now like it seemed. Yes. Whoa, whoa. Down by the railroad tracks, cook me a bucket of corn and some hot pepper coffee in the rain. Well, these things, they happen. Don't look for a happy ending. It's an old Irish story about a drunk boy spinning towards an open grave, spinning towards an open grave. Takes a certain kind of person to live out here in the open. We shared a pair of pants. When one went out, the other stayed home. When one went out, the other stayed home. If there was somewhere else to be, I'd be gone. Just sitting here, just hanging around. I could drive straight into the sun, except I ain't yet ready to be done. Hey, I'm an old man in an old car, trying to set my course on the Northern Star. On a dark night with a blindfold, trying to make it on, baby, on the back road.
I'm trying to think of a song that would fit.
Trying, it's been dragging me down. I've been finding a way, get me back to Skip James' grave. I've been trying to pray, take me back to Skip James' grave. Dogs are barking all over my neighborhood. It ain't doing no, it ain't doing me no good. I've been trying to stay, take me back to Skip James' grave. I've been longing to stay, take me back to Skip James' grave. I know I've gone so wrong, tell me what I'm doing wrong, I don't know.
Independent music plays here. Wow.
Thank you.